Hi everybody, and welcome back to Kevin's Upfront Opinion today. So, did a video earlier where I spoke about bumping into my ex-girlfriend who hasn't let me see my daughter for 16 years. Okay, put that video up on the likes of YouTube and TikTok and everywhere. And I had this I'll say gentleman, okay, who sent me a message and said, Kevin, what's your upfront opinion on marriage? Should I or shouldn't I? And it came from a man. Now, with a lot of videos out there nowadays saying marriage isn't really a great thing for men, okay, because they got nothing to gain and everything to lose. Well, as a general rule, it said a woman, on the other hand, has got everything to gain and pretty much nothing to lose. Okay, now I'm not going to get into that argument. Okay, so I thought, right, as he proposed, and he's getting cold feet about it, which means no matter what I say, the woman's going to come at me. Probably, I assume that they're heterosexual. So I asked my wife. Okay, I asked her the same question. And you know what? She refused to answer. So, from that, I've got to give an honest opinion of myself. And this is the way I look at it. Okay, now I've been married since 2018. Okay, so it's actually our anniversary this month. Okay, so we've been married for nearly 8 years now. If I was to be brutally honest, there's only been one occasion, okay, which was actually last year when I was really suffering from depression pretty badly, okay, where I actually came close, or we came close to actually splitting up. It's the only time. Okay, that's not to say that it's always been happy. You know, we've had our tough times and everything. And you may think, what's this got to do with it? Now, the big thing is, and this is the problem with a lot of people nowadays, men and women, but they think it's all going to be easy. It's going to be plain sailing. I've met my dream woman. She's the, she's the typical size 8 girl, got big boobs and everything. You know, somebody I can walk down the street, show all my mates to on my arm and everything. Doesn't work that way. You will have tough times. And the reality is, you've got to be willing to work. Okay. And if you're not willing to work together, okay, it won't last long. You know, I look at my grandparents. Okay. My grandparents, I think they got married in the 1950s. So they were probably married for the best part of 60 years. And I know there were times my nan absolutely hated my grandfather. Okay, I still remember to this day, and it actually makes me laugh because I remember when my granddad died, it was at his funeral, and everybody said he was always complaining about his thumb, and nobody, and I mean but nobody knows or knew at the time how he busted his thumb. And I remember at his funeral saying, what are you telling me? None of you know how he busted his thumb. I can tell you that. The only reason I knew how he busted his thumb was because I was there at the time, because my grandfather upset my nan. My nan had a lemon in her hand and she threw it at him. Okay, she was actually in the doorway to the living room and she threw it at him. She was probably, about 2 meters away. Okay, and he went to catch it with his right hand, and as he caught it, because he was a cricketer, okay, as he caught it, it bent his thumb right back. And for the next 20 years, he complained about his thumb like nothing else on this earth. He was always whining about how his thumb hurt. Okay. So the reality is, you've got to work at it because it's not always going to be great. Okay, you are always going to have tough times. Now, would I say people shouldn't get married? No, because marriage can be a very good thing. But the question is, are you going to work at it? Because if you're not going to work at it, you probably shouldn't be getting married, because you're probably going to end up getting divorced. And that is the reality. And I can say that because I've been divorced once. Okay. She was a lovely girl and everything. But she ended up deciding to go in a different direction. She found another man. Sadly for her, they're separated now. Okay, it's lovely gloating, especially when my ex-wife had an affair. Oh God, it's great. I ain't gloated like that in a long time. But that's the reality, and that is the most honest answer I can ever give anybody. If you want to get married and you're willing to fight and do what it takes, then you should get married. If you're not, and you just want to run, soon if things get hard, and maybe you've got financial problems, maybe she wants something and you don't personally agree, and you can't come to some kind of agreement, then you probably shouldn't be getting married. And that is my honest upfront opinion. So let us know what you think in the comments down below. But for now, thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you again a bit later.